Hey, JC, how are you?
How are you, Fede? Again, here
Again, we are here.
in our workshops. Welcome, everybody. Hope you can hear us now. Yesterday we had actually 2 days ago on Wednesday we had a little bit of technical difficulties with the audio, but apparently now it's working. Um, yeah, we will continue with these workshops. In this opportunity, we are going to be creating a PoC, so a proof of concept using ChatGPT and also some other and their APIs, right, from OpenAI. But let's chat a little bit, Fede, before we start, since we are waiting for people to join.
Yeah, let's wait people to get inside because maybe they're a little bit late.
Yeah.
So, have you heard the news? Did you watch the Google I/O keynote?
I saw it. Yeah, there are some news about Bard using this new model called Pan2, right? That
Mhm.
it comes in several sizes. I
Yeah,
believe it's three or four.
yeah. I
One,
thought there are four sizes. One of them, I think I heard them talking about being able to use it on mobile applications and without connection. Right? Did you hear about that?
yeah, but I tried it actually, and they say that now it can generate code,
Mhm.
but I tried it and yeah, it fails most of the time. I mean, it's not that at the same level as ChatGPT, at least to generate JavaScript, right? Maybe if you generate Python code, I think that you can run collabs with the Python code that it generates. So yeah. But yeah, who knows? I believe the most important thing that they shared is that they made a partnership with DeepMind, and they are training this new model called Gemini,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's supposed to be multimodal, and it's going to be. I mean, they said that they are training it right now, and GPT-5 is not being trained right now, so they are trying to get ahead there.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. Let's see what happens. And another news that was really important this week is that OpenAI actually released this paper about LLMs or large language models training. Interpreting or trying to understand other large language models.
Yeah, right.
They they use GPT-4 to see what happens inside of GPT-2,
Mhm.
something like that, right?
Yeah, because it's really almost impossible to explain what's going on inside each neuron or inside the deep learning network. And what they did was use GPT-4 to explain what each neuron on the hidden layers works as. I don't know, this neuron works for this or this does this. So it's like trying to explain a complex model with another more complex model.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, apparently they push the boundaries in interpretability, or this is a field that tries to explain how these large language models works. Uh, so yeah, it's a pretty interesting topic. Actually, that repository is open source. You can actually check it out and check out and yeah, contribute to it.
Mhm.
I guess that it doesn't appear to be that complex because what they are doing is pretty high level, right? So maybe yeah, it's a good way to contribute into um, LLMs as a general.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Are you ready to start?
yeah,
Because I think we got almost
yeah,
people.
we are at 6 minutes past 15 hours
Mhm.
here in Argentina. So let's start with the POC. So what we are trying to do today, or what we are going to try to do today, is to create a Chrome extension using ChatGPT, Copilot, and the APIs from OpenAI. Um, we are going to try to use several different methods of AI, right, in the workflow of the development workflow of a front-end engineer, let's say. And for to achieve this, what I did here is to create this repository with some code that you can check out right now, and you can follow up the steps by steps. In order to do this workshop in an hour, an hour and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, we are going to rush some of the steps, but we are going to try to show you step by step everything that we are doing, and how you can use AI in each of those steps. First of all, maybe the extension that we are going to try today is actually it infringes the some TOCs, right? Terms of service of one of the a page. Because what we are going to build is an extension that allows a LinkedIn profile, right? Like this is my profile. So I'm going to use just code to scrap a little bit of the information that is here, like the name, the role, the descriptions over here, and also the show history. And what we are going to try to do is to use that information that we scrapped from LinkedIn, send it to the OpenAI's API, and try to answer what is the level with some technologies, like for example React or maybe Node.js, JavaScript. From 1 to 10, what is the expertise of the given person with that technology? So yeah, in order to do that, here we have this
You see,
repository.
let me interrupt you for a second, because this time is you're going to be doing all the work here, and I'm going to be joining you just to relay all the questions that people may have. So if there at any moment anyone has a question, just write it on the chat. I'm going to relay that question to you, so we can stop a little bit and answer the question, right?
Yeah, and Fede, please feel free to interrupt me any time that you may consider.
Okay.
I will be trying to code everything from here. So here we have this repository. Let me show you. I have it already cloned here. This repo is just a simple repo using Byte, right? Where we have three main components, right? When you have to create a Chrome extension, you have three components. One that executes in the panel, right? For example, here in AdBlocker, it will be this panel here this is a script, and we are going to be using React to render this panel. Then you have two more scripts. One that runs in the browser as a whole, where you can connect with different APIs and the external world, let's say. And then another script that runs inside of the page. And those scripts are called the panel script that we are going to use this folder here that has all the React code, right? We have here also the Chrome panel or the build panel scripts where we use Bit to build that. And then we have the content script and the service worker. Now these files are just empty and they don't do anything. And the repository here is almost empty. Now I have already installed, of course, for to save time, I have everything installed. So I'm not going to run npm run install. You can run it if you are trying to follow. But I'm just going to run this command, npm run Chrome. And remember, this is all custom. This is just a repository where we have something set up to make this go faster, right? With Chrome, what we are running is concurrently running all of these scripts where we run the Chrome panel, and then the service worker and the content, in a way that it runs with watch mode. So any changes that we do to those files is going to compile. In order to load this extension to the Chrome application, we have to build it, right? So that's why I'm running a bit on build mode with Watch. So every time I make some changes, it's going to compile here in the this folder. So
Let me
let's
interrupt
import.
you 1 second here.
Yeah, Fede.
Just a
Sure.
question. I know we have a technical constraint here, and you can show everything you did, but
Yeah.
did you know how to write Chrome extensions, or did you have help there from ChatGPT?
I actually asked ChatGPT to help me a little bit the first time that I created one. But the issue is that Google updated the Chrome extension version from 2 to 3 in the last few months. So the replies when you ask ChatGPT to give you a way to build a Chrome extension, it will use the version 2, and that doesn't work anymore. So yeah, you can follow the upgrade methods and etc. But I didn't wanted to showcase that here because it's a hassle, right?
Mhm.
Asking ChatGPT for when something is not updated. So yeah, I believe that it was going to be easier if we started from here. Actually, if you go, I mean, here we have this code that is a custom code that I built. But if you go and search for Chrome extensions with Vite and as a starter, right? So Chrome extension Vite starter, something like this. Chrome extension Vite starter, you will see that there are several repositories that do exactly that,
Mhm.
right? So you
Right.
can use any of those to build a new extension, or you can use this one. I mean, it's just the same. There are
Yeah.
some files that have to be compiled.
The problem
Yeah,
here is that it's not updated the model to right now.
yeah,
So if it were, it might help you better to start from there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so just recapping, I just run that command that is building anything, and if I change some file, for example, let's say that I add some string here and I save it, it's going to compile again. So I can load that extension here just by going to this little icon, manage extensions, and then press the load unpacked button. Then I can go to my documents where I have this is the folder where I'm running the code. And then I will go to the dist folder that is over here, and I can select it, and it will load the code, right? The code has to compile to something like this. It needs to have the index HTML and then the two service worker and the content file. It also uses this manifest where you explicit which are the contents. In this repository, we have this all already configured, and actually the focus is not here into running or creating the extension per se, but using the AI. So that's why I'm not going to get a lot deeper into the configuration over here. Okay.
Can I ask you a
So
question here? Yuri has a
sure.
question. Is the JS code we are going to create going to be executable under the browser limitations, say under the console tab, or do we need some extra feature available only via Chrome plugins environment?
The code actually has to use the Chrome plugins. I don't know if I understand fully the question, but it has to run here because it has to um, load the content from the page, and that can be done in a script. And then you have to query the OpenAI's API. You could do it, I mean, in the Chrome console, right? But you will have to do it manually. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to run everything on just the tab, but it's going to run something on the background. I don't know if I reply the question correctly or not, or if I understood it.
I'm going to tell you later if Yuri has a
Okay,
question.
okay,
But
amazing.
go ahead. Sorry.
Continuing. So after running the code and etc., here we see the React app, right? It's running over here, and we can play around with it. I mean, this is just our beta React starter, right? The example that we are using to in the SRC folder. And then the code for the service worker and then the code for the content are here are empty. We can add maybe a console log like I'm the content. And if you saw that, I'm using Copilot, so that's why it wrote it like that. We can do it again, console log. I am service worker. Like it knows the name of the file or anything, and it loads that into the context, so it knows what to write. And now we can go, for example, here, and after we update the page, we should see. Maybe I have to update this. Okay, yeah. Here we can see I'm the service worker. By clicking this link, you can see the login inside of the service worker, right? And then by loading the page, you should see I'm the content, because that script is going to load in whatever page you run it. For example, if I go here in the page of ChatGPT or the tab of ChatGPT, it's going to load also. Now we have to we will do some more logic to run it in some specific pages and not others, but yeah, but apparently it's working. At least the extension, it's loading. We can see the code here, and etc. Okay, so first, Fede, is there any other question, or we can continue?
No, okay, you can continue.
Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup because I don't want this over here, and I actually want to use Material UI to make this a little bit faster. We are going to have some buttons and we configure an API key, and then we have to show the profile. No, the idea, remember, is to load the profile from LinkedIn, send it to ChatGPT or to OpenAI's APIs, and then parse some information and actually extract some information that is maybe not specifically available. For example, if I had to write myself with JavaScript, I don't know what actually score I will put to myself, right? But I don't have any scores in my profile. I mean, there is an explicit way in which you can see what is my proficiency level with JavaScript or with React, etc. But maybe through reading my description, or maybe by reading the descriptions in my job, in each of my job history or experience, maybe ChatGPT, we can give it a prompt to deduce that. Okay, perfect. So what we have to show in the extension here in this panel is maybe the avatar, maybe the name and the role, and of course that we have to configure the API key to be able to connect to the API, and then we have to show the actual scores for each of the technologies. So let's start from scratch, and what we are going to do is a little bit of cleanup over here. So I'm just going to remove all this code that is not going to be used. We can do that. Maybe I know that I'm going to use React. We are going to do a little bit of cleanup also over here. Actually, I can just click it and it will reload. And yeah, and I know that I have to remove this because I'm used to dealing with Vite and removing this data. This is something that ChatGPT actually won't give you, but we can remove this also. That will be okay.
I have a question for myself.
Yeah, sure.
Do you use Copilot in your daily work life, or do you have any privacy concerns?
Actually, since I'm not working with private code at the moment, I'm just doing open source. I can use it, but if I will be working for a client, I will have to check, right, if I can use Copilot or not, because Copilot actually sends the code that you have, or at least a little bit of the context window where you are standing right now, and it will send that in order to generate your code. So apparently Copilot doesn't train their models and doesn't store the data, but who knows, right? And so you have to check with actually with your employer and see if you can use it or not in your project.
Good answer.
It's the same with ChatGPT, right? Actually, ChatGPT, if you use the web UI, this here, and the data that you have over here, it's going to be used to train the models, and you can, I believe that you can here configure that you don't want to use the data to train. I don't know. I don't remember where it was, but
it's on settings. You can stop the history chat and training.
Where is it? Oh, okay, here it is. You can stop the chat history and training. but it's a trade-off, right? If you toggle this off, I will lose all my chat history. So yeah, since I'm not working with private data, or I don't use it to, and I don't send any PIIs, etc., I can leave this available. But if I will be dealing with some other information, I should disable this. But still, you shouldn't use this with any private data or any client's data, etc., because we don't know exactly what they do with the data, so it's better to be safe. Actually, Samsung had a problem with this when where some employee released some private information to ChatGPT, and now it's in on the training dataset. So yeah, you have to be careful with that. So recapping, let's go here, and as I said, we are going to be using Material UI to render this. And I believe that I deleted something because that shouldn't be so small. Maybe I deleted it from here. Okay, yeah, here it is. I want to delete that until up there, and this one. Okay, because I want to have a fixed width. Okay, so let's start by using ChatGPT. I want to have a header in my extension, and I'm going to name this application something like LinkedIn Profile Analyzer, and I need a cogwheel along the title to later on be able to configure the API key that I'm going to get from OpenAI, right, to use their APIs. So I need the code. Let's ask something like this. On the title, we said that it's going to be and a button with a code inside. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay. I don't know, because I want the button inside of the card header. If you are familiar with Material, you know that this is like the header inside of the card, and then it's going to be the content, and then at the footer we are going to have the settings icon with the icon button. But I want this button to be inside of the header, so let's say explicitly that actually amazing. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. So I have the card header with just the icon button and everything else. Of course, that I could have gone to materials UI documentation page and see how to do this. Actually, it's not hard to do, but it's easier, right? I just have my answer over here. I guess that if you haven't used material before, it could be maybe Chinese, right? Like you don't know exactly what you are seeing, but this works, right? So let's try it out. I actually copied it like that because I don't want to create a new component. I just want to render everything over here. And let's see what happens. Okay, amazing. Apparently we have the title and the code here. We have, I guess that we have to add some functionalities, but maybe actually the title is a little bit big, and then I want to run on dark mode. So let's ask how to do that. The title is too big. Just say that and see what happens. Okay. Apparently you can do this with the typography inside of title. Instead of using this, you can just copy everything like this. Change that, and then we can typography import it, and that will be it. We can see
I have a question, another question from me. I know that GPT-4 is really slow, so we can use it right now for this because we will take a lot of time. But have you tried asking GPT-4 for this code? Do you know how it works?
You can use it. I mean, for this specific task, like using Material UI, this is enough. But you could use GPT-4 and sometimes it's actually you cannot resolve some complex algorithms with GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. It's going to do a better job. Actually, I'm going to change this. Sorry, Fede, did that answer your question?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Okay. I changed this because the title is still a little bit big for me. I want it to be smaller, and I know that this word is going to do it. And let's try to see what happens. Yeah, that's too small. Let's try with subtitle 1, maybe. Yeah, that is okay for me. And I actually going to remove some of the padding that I have there, and I believe if I remove that, it should work. And there is something with the width that I want to remove there. Maybe if I change this and sorry, I just want to be, or maybe it's marching. Maybe I shouldn't bother with this. Yeah, let's not bother with this. We can fix it later. What I want to do is also to run on dark mode, right? So I will ask exactly that. How can I run dark mode in material? And it should actually give me the reply. Yeah, I have to install everything like it's here. We actually didn't install material because I had everything already installed, right? I did a little bit of cheating, but yeah, you can ask for that. And this is actually pretty correct. I believe it's missing one of the, no, it's okay. Muy material, muy React, and style. This is correct. Okay, and I know that I have to run this in where React is mounting the code in the root element, right? So we can go here. This is exactly the place where we should add that, and we can add this. Maybe this, and then we have to copy this wrapper. And then here. Okay. The one that is doing that is Copilot. This is due to Copilot, where you have this shadow element and you only have to press tab and it will fill it out. Actually, if I remove this, it will probably do it. Okay. It knows exactly what I want. Wait, because it's doing something weird. Okay, there it is. It knows exactly what I want and how to put it. Okay, if we save that, it should already be everything in that mode. Okay. And we have here some problem with the padding, but I'm not going to bother because we are going to actually switch branches later where we have something more stable and we can advance a little bit more. Okay, so here we have this. And what we're going to do now is to ask for a section where we can configure the input and then some avatar, etc. This 1530, I think that we can move on since you see that we can ask for code, right? And it will do it pretty good. So I'm going to restart the branch that I'm at, and I'm going to move into a step further. And so let's reset this and then go to part 2. And in part 2, what we have is, if it compiles, it's compiling. Okay, that's it. Okay, we have the profile analyzer and what we did, right? And I'm going to move to part 3, actually, where we have everything already configured with the API key and the settings. Let's wait it. Okay, there it is. We have dark mode, some settings, some loading, and here we can configure the API key, right? Let me show you what. Actually, all of this I have it built with ChatGPT. I shouldn't want to solve your time, right? But you can check here that we have the card header, the card content, some linear progress to show the profile. Actually, it's loading, and so we cannot see it, right? But it's going to. This is already allowing me to render some profiles. If I hide this, we should be able to see it. It's loading. It's compiling actually. Oh, because yeah, let me actually hide the loading false. Okay, that should be it. Okay, that's it. So we can see the profile, right, and the level of each technology with this slider, and then we have the name and the role. Okay, so this is a template, and what we need to render the application. What we are going to do now is actually one of the key parts where we have to parse the information from the page that we are at. Actually, before, let's see the connection between these parts, right? Because we have here the rendering, and we need to get the information from LinkedIn, right? So to get the information from LinkedIn, what we have to do is to get this content file to parse the information, right? To get it from the page. And we can do that by doing, of course, document query selector, and just select some query selector. Okay, and we can select the element that we want to get the text from. For example, we can maybe try with this one. I believe that this is the selector that we should use to get the content here. And if we do inner text, we will get that. I'm not going to use ChatGPT in this case, or any AI for this show. Actually, the idea is not about parsing the information from LinkedIn. And actually, remember that this is for education purposes only. This is infringing the TOCs from LinkedIn, and yeah, we don't want. And I mean, this is not going to be used for anything more than this example, right? Where we have some information that we got from somewhere, and then we parse it with GPT, and then we transform it in some other way, or we extract some data. So I'm not going to go a lot deeper into this. The idea is that you have to select all the elements that you want. For example, if I wanted the about, I know that in order to get this element, there is this ID about, and then I can go and drill down until I get this element, and then I get the content over here. This is just a scrapping technique, a manual scrapping technique, right? And I have this code already somewhere over here. Yeah, here it is. So if I run this code that I already built before, we can get the profile, and just it will parse everything, right? And if we check this out, it's building this string where we have the name, the role, and the about. Of course, this is value formatted, but maybe we can replace all these characters with some, so you can see it clearly. Right, we have the name, the role, the about, everything in between, and then the experience with all the information. This seems badly formatted, but this is something that ChatGPT can understand as it is, and yeah, it actually can work. So this is enough for the solution that we need, right? Okay, so we have a way to get the information. That's everything that is there. I mean, what I did actually before of the meeting is to get the selectors that I needed to get the information, and then add it in this kind of format, and that's enough. Okay. So the following thing is that okay, we have a way to get the information, right, from the content script. Actually, let me pass that code here where I have it. Okay, I have it over here because we need it over here. We have a way, right, to execute this code. Remember that whatever we executed in the content file, it's going to be executed in the tab where we are running, right? But we need a way to execute it. I mean, this won't be executed by itself. So we need to have something to orchestrate all of the connections and to showing whatever happened in the content file are in the panel, right? We have the scripts for the content now, and we have the script for the panel, but we need something to mix that together. And that script is the service worker. We are going to need to add something later in the content file, but for now, let's move to the service worker that is going to be the one that is going to orchestrate everything over here. First of all, we need a way to know when the page, right, that we loaded, because let's think how we are going to use this extension. I'm going to be browsing, right, in LinkedIn, right? Maybe I press my search button and I go to some other profile, and I want my extension to know that some candidate's profile, and it's going to get the information, send it to GPT, and then display it in the extension over here, right? That's the idea behind it all. So we need some script to know that when the page finish loading and where are we in the page. Okay, so in order to do that, we are going to use the service worker, and I'm going to do a pause. Fede, is there any question? Because or anything that...
No, don't worry. Just go ahead.
Okay, amazing.
I have a question, but it's for later. So go ahead, finish, and I will give you my question when we are over.
Okay, maybe something that is not clear up to this point that we can clarify for the audience.
No, I think it's pretty clear. Nobody has any complaints, and I'm following along.
Okay, amazing. So what we are going to do is to run one of the commands that we can in the Chrome extensions environment, and it uses this Chrome. Actually, let's do something here. Let's ask ChatGPT how to do it. I know that I need to wait for the page to be loaded, right? And I want to know how to send, how to get information from the content file and do it. Actually, I want to know when the page finish loading and if the page is a LinkedIn page. So I know that a profile LinkedIn page is when it starts with this, right? I mean, I know that you probably know that your profile is something like this, and then your name, or maybe some hash or something. So if the page starts with LinkedIn/in, we are okay that it's a profile. So let's ask for that. I need the code from a service worker in my Chrome extension to know when the page has finished loading, and the URL starts with. Let's see what it does. Yeah, this is not it. Weird. Let's rephrase a little bit. Remember, as we said in the previous workshop, iteration is key. I mean, maybe sometimes it doesn't understand. I know that this doesn't work. I need a code for my Chrome extension actually, on the service worker script to know when the page has finished loading. Let's go with that first. See what it does. Yeah, this seems more like it. Okay. Here we know, right, with the Chrome tabs updated, we know that the tab actually finished updating. So we can copy this. And I know this because I have built some other applications. Actually, maybe this is not the best idea if you are starting with that. Maybe you can use the official documentation for this step, right? I mean, the idea here is to show how you can be augmented by AI, and in your everyday tasks, there are some things that you are going to know and some things that you are going to research, and probably with your knowledge you can differentiate between a good answer or a bad answer, and that's the idea.
I think the key here is that a lot of things that you know that you might forget about, or you have to see how it's done, but you know how to do it. So when you see it done by the AI, you know if it's right or wrong.
Exactly. That's pretty much the idea. Okay, so here we know that the page has done loading, and here is sending a message. I know that I don't need this because I just want to know when the page has finished loading. So what we are going to do is just to console log the tab ID and the tab, for example, and we can check it out. Actually, whenever you change the content script or the background script or the service worker, you have to reload the Chrome extension. So if we reload it and then we clear this up and then we update the page, and sorry, here in the service worker, yeah, here we can see the log for that. And we can see that we have here the URL, right, in the tab object. So the second object in the console log is the tab object, and we have apparently the URL parameter. Okay, amazing. What we can check here, of course, is that if the tab URL starts with, right, this is a method of the strings, and we can check if it starts with this, so something like that. So if it starts with this, we know that this is the page that we are seeking. Okay, so after it gets loaded, we have to get the profile, right? The profile information in order to later send it to the API. And as I said before, the script that can connect with the outside world is the service worker. So we need to get the profile here at the service worker level, so we can send it later to the OpenAI. Something that I don't remember if I told you is that in order to connect these parts, they connect with messages. So this is where this comes, where you can send some message to some tab, right? And the idea to send a message to a tab is that you are sending a message to the content script inside of a tab. We know here that the tab ID has been loaded, so we can use this, and then we need an action. And what we are going to do with this action is actually getting the profile. So get profile. That's pretty much the idea. I named it like this because I liked it. We can use this or maybe get profile. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just a word. I'm actually going to use command here for the key. Here you can send whatever object you want to the tab. You can use whatever. You can send an object. It's just that. So I'm just going to send this command that I want to trigger the content script to get the profile from the page because it has finished loading. Of course, that we have to capture that message from here, right, in order to get the profile, because we need now with this message that occurred here, we need to execute it over here. And I will try to do this fast so we can continue and check out what happened. I didn't do anything. I didn't paste. I just put my cursor here, and it knows what I need. I mean, Copilot knows what I need to receive that message. I can press tab over there, and now check this out. Request command get profile, and I can just execute that, and that's it. Yeah, it's missing here a parenthesis, and that's okay. But it knew that I wanted to check if the command that is coming in the request is get profile, and it knows that I have this function over here where I can get the profile, and then it can send it back. And that's pretty much it. Now we can go back here and actually get the response, right? If we put a comma there, we can wait it out. It should do it. Okay, that's it. How the console log of the response, right? Let's check it out, right? If we achieve to do it. So let's load again the script. We can open the service worker and let's update the page. And okay, here it is. So what happened is actually we can add another more login over here. And again, we are using Copilot for this. We are not using ChatGPT. But apparently it works, right? It gave me the code that I needed. I didn't have to write anything. Of course, that I know that there are some like we were saying with Fede just now. There are some things that you know, but maybe you have to remember, or you have a glimpse in your mind of how it was, or a small memory, right? But this helps you a lot into remembering, or maybe completing what you need. We can add here a control log to see that we are receiving the command. This is a content, and then the request command, for example. And now we can execute it again. Actually, I think that, yeah, I have to reset the, okay, that's it. Yeah, here it is, content, get profile, and then I get the profile over here. Okay, excellent. We have everything connected, right? Now we have the profile on our, I mean, with the content script, we are ready, we are done. We don't need to add anything more from here. We can close it up. And what we need to do now is to handle this response where we have the profile. So we can get the profile here and send this to the OpenAI's API and get the information. And in order to do that, of course, that we need to make an Axios request or a fetch, whatever. But first, let's build the actual prompt that we need to use to extract the information, right? So we have the profile over here. Let me copy it. And let's go to the playground in ChatGPT, and let's play a little bit with this. I don't know why I got log out. Okay.
JC, I have a request here. If you can showcase how to use Copilot to comment code.
Okay, we can do that. I need to log in here. Can please, cameraman, can you hide my screen so I can log in? Let me know when you did it. I don't know why I got logged out. And Fede, are we safe?
Of live broadcast, right?
Yeah. I just want you to hide my screen. Fair?
He's working on it, I think.
Okay, just give us some seconds because we have to. Fede, can you contact our cameraman?
Yeah, he's.
Maybe he can change to our first scene so he can hide my screen.
Fer, can you change to the?
To our screen so I can share the playground. Okay, here we are at the playground, and we can use this to try to build the actual prompt that we are going to use to parse the information. And here you have a lot of things, and you can try whatever model you want. This is the previous model that was available, and now there is a new way to interact with GPT 3.5, that is this chat version. This chat version, it's actually pretty similar to what ChatGPT does, right? But you have here a little bit more control, because you have a system message that you can configure. It's like a role prompting, right? What we discussed in the previous workshop, where we discussed role prompting, where you give the AI a role, and then it will reply using that role. That's what the system message does. I mean, if you go back to the previous way to interact with this playground, it was like this, right? You give it, you give here some context on how you wanted the AI to reply, and then you will add a text, adding human, because it's configured with these two labels, human and AI. So whatever question you gave, it replied here, completing the text. This is called completion, right, in the worlds of LLMs. And what you are doing here is completing the text, or maybe advancing the text with some generation of texts. But we're going to use the chat, and this is pretty much the same idea as role prompting. We have what we are going to send here is the profile, right?
I have to add something here
Yeah.
that is pretty important, because as you know, here we have a context window of around 4,000 tokens, right?
Yeah.
And you might lose. What used to happen is that you used to lose your role prompting, because you start with that, and when you reach the limit token, the system forgets what was the role. Now with the system, it's that system prompt is outside the limit tokens, so it always remember what the system message is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a pretty good information, Fede. I don't know if I knew that actually. And yeah, that's pretty amazing, because yeah, you have always this system message that will let the AI know how it has to behave, or what it has to do, right, with the answers and questions that you give it. So what I'm going to ask the AI is to play a role. So I'm going to say to it, you are an HR, or a human resources specialist, right? With a background in software engineering. Why I'm saying this, and this is just something that I'm coming up right now. I actually taught it before, right? But I want to give it this because I want the AI to understand my experience in software, and read between lines of what I'm saying in my show experience and in my description. And maybe a human resources specialist that knows a little bit about software engineering, or has a background, can read between lines a little bit better, right? By knowing that, I don't know, if I use Node.js, then I know JavaScript. On if I use React and I know JavaScript, right? You can do those links between the technologies if you know what technologies lie behind. So yeah, this is the role that I'm giving, and what I want to do is to tell the AI, okay, you are this, and I want, and you are given the task, given the task, to analyze a candidate's profile, and this is what I'm giving it, right? You have to classify the profile, or a rating from 1 to 10 for each of the following technologies. And we are going to hard code here some technologies like React, JS, I don't know, TypeScript, JavaScript, and Node.js, let's say, maybe Python. Okay, awesome. So we have here some technologies and the information, and here this prompt. And now we need the AI to give this output or the output that or the reply that I want from the AI, it has to be in JSON, right? Because I want to be able to show it in my React application. I mean, my tab, right, where we have everything to show already. And so I'm going to give the output instruction. So I'm going to put output. I can choose this kind of format. I could do it some other way. This suits my needs. So I'm going to say that output, and then I'm going to put something like name. We have to escape this whenever you're working with the chat, because you're working with strings, right? And if I put strings like this, it's going to break my code sometimes. So I just always escape any of the quotes. Name, a string. We can define this as if it were some kind of pseudocode or maybe TypeScript, right? Where you define some types. Maybe role here, string again, and then technologies. And here is the idea. And this is going to be an array of technologies where you have the name of the technology and the rating of that technology. And this is a number, actually, from 1 to 10. Okay. And something that is really important, right? So we are going to put important, is that you can only reply using JSON, the previous JSON, or reply using the previous JSON format. Let's see what happens. I press the send button. Okay, apparently it's working. Just with that. Hey, I'm a 9 with React. Okay. Apparently I'm pretty good. According to the AI. I don't know if I'm that good, but come on. Just it gave us this reply in JSON, and it's exactly what we need, right? Because we can render these technologies using the name and the rating, and this is pretty much the format that we have over here in this technology list, the tech list, right? Name and rating, so it matches that, and then we have name and role, and name and role, yeah, we have to map that up over here. But okay, I hope that you are seeing all the pieces coming together. Fede, are you following around?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Actually, let's try it up once more and see if it works. Because sometimes what the AI will do is to add some kind of explanation in the response, and that could break our code, right? If the AI, let's say that said here, here is your response, I cannot do a JSON parse of this, right? Because it will break my string. So let's try and see if the query or the system prompt that we have is robust enough to let the AI know what we want. Up to this point, I don't know if these numbers are okay, right? I mean, this is just a proof of concept, and maybe you have to give the AI more context, like say, if you don't see any information about that technology, do not put a rating, maybe put 0 or whatever. But for the purposes of what we are doing here, this is enough.
Yeah, as you said earlier, you have to iterate your prompts because
Exactly.
right now you're in your first try, so probably the results are not what you're expecting. But if you go around a few times, you will get what you need.
Exactly. So in order to consume this API, right, we can go here to the API reference, and then we can go to chat and create chat completion. And here is the code that you have to run. Maybe you can see it here in curl, or maybe you can change to Node.js, and you can here import the library, etc. Since we are running late, actually, because it's 16 hours now, I'm going to reset the code and move a little bit forward. And let's go to part 4, where I hope that we have already. Okay, no, it's part 5. Yeah. Okay. Part 5 is where we have the get profile, we have the send response, and this is what we had coded before, right? It's just that I had it already saved. And here we have exactly what we, wait, let me remove this, service worker. Okay, here it is. We have this is just the same, but in some other functions. We got the get profile and the console log. And then here in the application, we have a little bit more tweaks, like there is no profile loaded yet. And then we have here the API key and some buttons to save it, right? Okay, let's go one step further to add the code. Yeah, here, PoC. Let's add the code for OpenAI. What we add is the system prompt that we developed. Actually, this is one that I had coded before, but it's pretty much the same prompt, right? It has the output. You can only reply in this format, and there are some rules here to make the prompt robust, right? I iterated this prompt maybe 4 or 5 times to check that it didn't add any text, what we were saying before. And then we have the function that implements what we were seeing here in this code. It's just that I'm just calling this endpoint, like if you were calling it by curl, right? We're calling the endpoint, sending a post message with the API key that later on we are going to send. And then we have the body where we send the model that we want to use and the messages. If you can see here, I added the technologies as a variable, and then you can replace here technologies. Actually, check it out. The technologies is not as a variable over there. The idea is that we have the system prompt, and we can have some variables in the prompt, right? Like this. And then the code, you can actually, this is just a replacement, right? But it shows a way in which you can have a prompt that is dynamic, right? And you can replace some variables inside of it later on in your code. So we have these technologies as a variable, and then we replace them with the technologies that we have in our function. Okay, and then we use the API key. Then we get the response here and the content of the response. The response comes as messages, and here's the response sample. I use this, right, to get this chain of access to up to the text that we need to use. And okay, apparently it's all there because if we go back to the add listener in the service worker, remember we were checking up that the profile has loaded, right? And then the tab is a profile because we were there. Then we, of course, here is a little bit more logic, right? But we process the tab. So we process the tab ID. And then we set some loading because we have to make the profile load, etc. We have to put the loading in our tab, and then get the API key. We have it stored in the extension, etc. I don't want to show this because it's more or less about the Chrome extension and not about the problem as a whole. But we get the profile, then the classification from OpenAI. We call these two functions, and then we send the message to the tab, right, to the Chrome tab. So the extension tab. We do that by using, again, the send message option with some command set profile and the classification. This classification is the JSON that we loaded from ChatGPT, the response that we get from ChatGPT, as this function says. Then we go here at the application. We have this use effect where we tag along to these messages as we did with the content before, where we tag along to the Chrome runtime on message to get the instruction from the service worker to get the profile. The same we are doing here to get the instruction from the service worker that we need to show the profile. Okay. The only thing that we need now is to configure the extension because everything is there already. So let's get one API key here, and this is going to be port 2. I'm going to copy this key, and I'm going to put it over here. Okay, we have the API key already there. This is storing. Okay, it's not storing it. That's weird. Maybe I need to reload this. Okay, let's try that. Okay, it should save it. Okay, that's it. It's saving the API key. Amazing. And what we only have to do is to just reload the page, and it should actually start loading because we have all those set loaders, and we should be seeing the proficiency with React and Angular. And maybe we can change it a little bit, but I guess this shows exactly. And I don't know, Fede, if everything is clear
There is a lot
at
of
that
things
point.
to understand here, but it's pretty clear how it works.
Okay, amazing. Maybe we can. Well, yeah, I will post the code up to this point, so you can check it out in your local machine if anybody wants to see it. But the idea here, what lies behind all this concept, is that we used the API of ChatGPT to make a function, right? We made a function that puts some text that is the profile of a person, of a candidate, etc., and then it returns a JSON. So it's actually a function that is programmed using natural language. That's the idea. You are giving, here is the code of your function, and here is the input of your function, the user message, and here is the output of your function, that is the assistant message. So there is a lot of power over here, because let's say that you needed to do this without AI. Can you do it? What do you think, Fede? I wouldn't know
I
where
think no,
to start,
it will be really difficult.
because maybe you will need to, I don't
You
know,
can,
create
yeah,
lookup tables to know what
you,
technologies I have over here, and check the time that I stayed at each job, right? If you had to do it programmatically, it
it
will be
will
really hard.
almost impossible because not every profile is right the same. So you might make it work for your profile, but the next profile is going to be different. So
Yeah,
it's going to be right in a different way. So all the things that you thought work, it would work. So I think it's probably an impossible job.
yeah. So that's the message that I want to leave you with. I mean, you can use these APIs to use as code, right? To at least to parse strings and I don't know, some text, and get information from those texts, and you can actually format them in a way that later on your code can understand in a strategic way, like in a JSON or maybe a list or whatever your code needs. But the LLM can structure the response in a way that it then is easier for your code to use. Okay.
That's an awesome conclusion for this great work. I think this was impressive. Right now, as you said, you can input text to these functions, but with multimodal language, large language models, imagine you use an image as an input and you get like a JSON output with all the stuff in that image or whatever you need. It's like programming functions with natural language.
Exactly. Programming functions with natural language. That's the summarization of this. Okay,
Work.
so that's the finish of this, the finish note of this second workshop. Next week, I think that we are not going to have one, and we are going to come back in 2 weeks with a workshop from Fede. I don't know, Fede, if you want to give us some hints of what that is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be about LangChain. LangChain is a framework that is pretty hype right now because it works with Latin LLMs, so everybody's working on it, everybody's using it. So I'm going to make a little workshop on how it works.
Okay, amazing, amazing. I hope that you use because you are going to use Python or in your local machine or
Python
where.
and Collab.
Okay, Google Colab. Okay, amazing. Yeah, apparently Google Colab is pretty useful for running these things, because you can share the scripts, and it's really helpful whenever you have to iterate with these things and connect libraries, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
time,
Fede.
everybody. Thank you,
Yeah.
Juan Cruz, for your work. It was awesome. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fer,
Yeah.
our cameraman.
Thank you, our cameraman. Yeah, to be there, always ready. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And yeah, see you
Bye.
in 2 weeks. Bye bye.